Hey, Bruce Feldman, pleased to be joined by one of the stars of probably the best story right now going in the Pac-12, and that's Oregon State. And this is Jaydon Grant. Jaydon, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, so you got an interesting path here to Corvallis, and we'll get into that in a second. But you've been at Oregon State so long, it almost feels like you're a Dennis Erickson recruit. Walk us through what it feels like to been through so much that you've been through, and now you guys have a chance as you go to Washington State this weekend to go to 5-1. This program hasn't won more than 5 games in a season in like 7 years. So tell me how this feels to be on this ride right now.
I mean, it feels good, but I try to live in the moment, and we really try to only celebrate games Saturday night. I think our whole thing is we want to keep winning games. You can't sit here and be satisfied or get complacent with the wins you do have. So when we win, we're not harping on the win. The next week we're on to the next one. So we can keep this thing going.
Talking to Jonathan Smith, who's obviously a terrific player when he was a Beaver years ago, I think people respect what he's started to do there, but you're on the inside. What has he been able to really get accomplished there, and why has it changed this year on the field?
I think Coach Smith and the whole entire staff has created a culture that bred a lot of leaders on this team, and that started from day one. How we treat people, how we do business. I think one of the biggest things that was evident was when Coach Smith first came. We had never had a team GPA of over a 3.0, and I think we've had one for now. How many straight terms? 9 or something like that.
How did he get that accomplished in terms of the academic piece? Obviously, a lot of coaches will talk about it. How was he able to kind of emphasize that part of it so it maybe resonated in a different way?
I think he just held us to a higher standard, letting us know that not only is it important to get good grades, but it's important for your future to get a degree and to actually learn and take things away from this class. You would go from 10th to 1st, who, the best GPAs. And every guy that got over 3.0, your name will be on the board and it will kind of get unveiled and from the bottom to up. And that's something that, got guys really excited. And eventually, we would start competing between position rooms. The room that the lowest GPA has to do this, or the room with the highest GPA gets this. So different little things like that. So we're to the point where eventually, now it's, that's what the standard is. That's what you're expected to do. You're expected to go in and have success in the classroom, and you're expected to go in and, not miss class or not miss an academic meeting or anything like that. So I think it all goes back to the culture that was set and brought here by Coach Smith.
You've been there now 6 years, right? And you're going for what's going to be your 3rd degree. Is that fair to say?
Sir.
So what has that process been like, as how you've matured, how you've kind of tackled taking advantage of these things, and how for you it's carried over to the football field?
Well, I mean, it's definitely been a long road, especially with academics. One that hasn't been easy as well. I'm still, like I said, I'm working on my master's right now, and I got class today. So just getting it done, kind of prioritizing, what you need to prioritize in order to handle your business, really. And that's kind of how what the mantra is here at Oregon State.
For you guys to emerge as a football star, maybe some people don't know your background. Your dad was a former terrific player for the Portland Trail Blazers, Brian Grant, grew up in that community. I read some stories about when you were a younger player. You have a lot of ties in the basketball community. I think you have a real connection to Damian Lillard and his family, right? Can you walk people through who don't know your path, maybe some of the people who've been really influential in your life, not just as an athlete, but as a person?
Yeah, definitely. So, I started off, I was an aspiring basketball player my whole life. Ended up joining the football team my senior year, halfway through the season. Ultimately chose to kind of forego my recruiting for basketball and just, I don't know what led me to choose Oregon State. I always say it was God. But I ended up choosing to walk on at Oregon State. And the crazy thing is, you mentioned the Lillards and my relationship with them. None of this would have been possible without Houston Lillard. He's like a mentor, like a big brother. Has helped me grow as a man, not only as a football player, but, all things off the field as well. And he would always try to get me to play football, and I kind of get mad and be like, I'm a basketball player and this and that. But he saw something in me, long before I ever did. Even when I chose to walk on at Oregon State, I didn't know what I was really getting into. So
And Houston,
not even just here at Oregon State specifically. I wouldn't be here at Oregon State if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't have played football at all if it wasn't for him. So I really owe a lot to him, not only for me getting here, but my growth as a person as well.
and for people who don't know, Houston is Dame's older brother, right?
Yeah.
So what is it like for you? You're in that community to see his younger brother become this phenomenon. He wasn't like he went and off to the Pac-12. He went a different route.
Yeah.
It's a little surreal to see how like somebody who's, been like family to you turned into this iconic talent.
I mean, yeah, it is. It is kind of crazy, but I mean, Dame and all of them being who they are, everybody's so down to earth that sometimes I forget that he's that. You know what I'm saying? When Dame first got drafted here, my cousin Vinny, actually, who grew up with Dame, that's how I got connected with the Lillards. Vinny had just moved out there, and we would train all the time together. And I would just be over his house, he kind of showed me how to work. Not only just the 1 or 2 hour workouts, or going back to the gym late at night just to hit 100 straight free throws, or little things like that. He showed me how to be a professional as well.
I'm curious, is there much crossover literally in terms of you as a defensive back? We see a lot of stuff with receivers, with releases, where it almost looks like basketball hesitation stuff. Do you see it? Does it feel like there is a lot of the same carryover from the basketball moves to what you have to do as a DB?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. As far as moving your feet, sliding to the angle to beat somebody to a spot. Especially when you work, on the LOS, on the line of scrimmage, and you're in your press work and different things like that. It is different because the guy you're guarding doesn't have to dribble a basketball or cross over to go, the other way. When I got to Oregon State, it was more of just, cleaning up the technique. But there's definitely some similarities in, guarding a player, pressing, I would say specifically.
And I know another basketball star who's blown up since you probably knew him, Payton Pritchard. You almost roomed with him at Oregon. Is that story right?
Yeah, that's like my brother. That's like my brother. We grew up together from the first time I moved back here to Oregon. I was in the 5th grade. We've been on every team, AAU, City Ball, same high schools. We were neighbors. I would stay at his house sometimes, for weeks at a time. That's another person knew from a young age. I was just talking about, how Dame kind of taught me how to work, but Payton, growing up, his work ethic was second to none. And this is not, a high school kid. This is like a 10-year-old kid. Made me realize how much it will actually take, how much I'll actually have to put in to achieve my goals and to start having some success like he was having. And then one thing that I know that we both drove in each other was just our competitiveness. Everything that we did, we competed, whether it was, video games, whether it was one-on-ones, whether it was, kickball. We were just ultra competitive. And I think if it's not for that, I don't think I would have came here and had any success here at Oregon State. I don't think I would still be a football player, because that's what got me through and allowed me to, make some strides and do little things when I first immediately came in at Oregon State, was just my competitive nature.
Were you likely to go to Oregon? Like, where was the shift where you're like, okay, I'm not going to go with my guy over there to Eugene. I'm going to go to Corvallis. What ultimately was the decision, and how tough was that to go in a different direction?
Well, I liked the Beavers too when I was growing up, but growing up, I was a big Oregon fan. Went down there, had my visit, different things, but it was kind of like the same decision that, led me to play football. I can't really explain it. Some was just telling me, go be an underdog, go to a place that seems like they want you a lot more, where they'll actually value you, and where I felt like I had a fair chance, not for anything to be given to me, but just to earn what I felt I deserved.
Jaydon, we appreciate your time. Best of luck this weekend. It's really been cool to see how this program and what Jonathan Smith and you guys have been able to do. I think especially given, your commitment to that school and how you've been through the hard times and coaching changes and everything else, and to see it paying off in this way and results on the field has been, like I said, one of the best stories going right now on the West Coast in college football.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And like I said, we're just looking to keep it rolling.
Thanks.